big numbers through the air and on the ground. I mean, what do you see as the greatest strength of this offense?
Yeah, I mean, extremely impressed with what they've done offensively. I think they're putting up over 500 yards a game, which ranks, top 20 in the nation, and how balanced they are doing it. You know what I mean? They rush for over 200 yards a game and throw for over 260. You just don't see a lot of offenses doing that, and being able to do it at a high tempo rate, but also running the ball the way they are and showing a lot of different run schemes and doing it with a lot of different tailbacks. The quarterback's a factor in the run game. They get a lot of guys to rock. So just has been I haven't seen a lot of them prior to obviously game planning them. And very impressed with what they do offensively, and impressed with the level of talent they have across the board, skill position wise. And honestly, I think their offensive line is coached extremely well, especially the amount they put on them from the amount of schemes that they do from an offensive run game standpoint. Very impressive. Very impressed, and we know the task at hand, especially the formations and what they're doing off of tempo. It's going to be a really big task, and excited to get into it with our guys.
And I think their quarterback is like 24, 25 years old. I mean, what kind of added dimensions does that kind of experience, offer?
Yeah, I think just, I believe he was a Major League Baseball player or was in the minor leagues for a couple of years. And watching him and how he operates the offense, you can just tell that he's got a lot of savvy to him. He's been through it. He leads the team. He leads the offense. He takes a couple big hits. He gets right back up, can run the ball, stays in the pocket. So got a lot of respect for him in regards to, especially as a quarterback, man. Everything goes through you. And an offense that goes that fast, he has to make quick decisions and operate. And he does a really good job. And that shows, obviously, that his coaching staff has done a really good job with him, but also just him as the leader of that offense. Really impressive.
You got a lot of guys that on defense and won't be back next year. I mean, Andy said it seems like a pretty motivated group. I mean, what do you make of these guys kind of wanting to go down there and have one last ride together and just the time together, away from football, but also to finish strong with a win?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously this group, and I've talked to you guys a lot about how much this group means to me. It means this coaching staff. It means to this place, more importantly, and what they've done. And so it's going to be a time for our guys to be obviously spend time together and don't miss any of those moments down at the bowl site, the practices, the meetings, as well as the things they get to do together outside of football. But I do know they want to finish strong. They want very disappointed as a group that we weren't able to win the championship like we worked our tails off to do. Proud of them. And so they want to finish this thing strong. And they want to finish it for their brothers. They want to finish it for this group. And every team every year is different. The 2022 Broncos is going to look very different in 23, and that's the way it is every single year in college football. And so the amount of love and respect we have for this group of seniors, this group of guys that is going to be moving on. And I know, obviously, as a coaching staff, we want them to finish strong for them, but they want to too. The practices that they've had the past couple of days have been some of the most competitive practices we've had all year, but that's just who this group is. It's how they prep to play in that championship game, and I know that's how they're going to prep to play North Texas. They obviously understand the task at hand with this offense, but they're excited to do it, and they're excited to do it together. And so it's going to be, just like I told you guys, the emotional side of the game, with it being the last game on the blue in the Mountain West Championship game, this being the last game that we have some of these guys playing together, is going to be emotional in a lot of ways because of what they've done for this program. And I want them to finish it strong and finish on the right note, and they do too.
We saw Jabril out doing some recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he's going to be helping with the edges at least
Yep.
through the bowl game.
Yep.
What's his prospects as a coach in the future?
Yeah, I think Jabril Frazier does a phenomenal job. Seeing him from obviously being able to coach him when he was a player to seeing him kind of get away from football for a little bit, take his shot at the NFL, and then get back into it. And the 3 years he's been here as a graduate assistant, he's been awesome. His attention to detail, how he works, how he preps, wants to continue to improve his class. Now he's got his master's. He's got the respect of everybody in the locker room, which is a huge part when you're a young coach, because there's still, a decent amount of guys on this team that played with him. So it goes from that's my friend Jabril to now that's Coach Frazier, and he's done a phenomenal job separating those in his time coaching. I think he's an absolute rock star in this game, and I've got a lot of respect for him, and so excited to see him work with Coach Avalos through this bowl game. And after the bowl game, we'll see what happens.
Obviously don't want to go back too far, but as you were watching the film and preparing for North Texas, what did Fresno State do to you guys in that title game that gave you problems, and how do you go about trying to fix that?
Yeah, good question. After every game, you're always looking to see how an offense attacks you. There are some similarities to what North Texas does offensively, and so there's going to be some things that show up from that game. No different throughout the rest of the season, some different ways we've been attacked. But I think just speaking specifically to the Fresno State game, really proud of how our guys competed and played in that game. Obviously, we didn't do enough to win the game, but proud of how they played and how they attacked that championship game. And the biggest thing I wanted them to know after that game, because of how when you compete and give your all to something, it's painful when you don't achieve the results you want. And so seeing them after the game, obviously heartbroken to not win it, the biggest thing I want to show them is hard work does pay off. Like the work they put in to get ready for that game, it showed. Now, it wasn't perfect. I got to be better. There's a lot of moments in that game that we need to be better defensively, but proud in how they played. Now the stuff that we did give up in that game will probably show up Saturday night down in Frisco, and there's some things that we got to be ready to attack.
Andy said that Saturday's practice was probably the most physical practice you've had all year.
Yeah.
And he said a big reason for that was the leadership and guys who
100%.
probably playing in the NFL next year. They were the ones leading it, and that's rare in college football, as you know. A lot of those guys, they don't play in the bowl game
100%.
anymore, Coach. Why does that not happen here?
Yeah. I am a firm believer that's because these guys love playing with the brother to their right and their left. You know what I mean? I think it's way more for the guys in these seats about the guy to the right and the left. It's not as much about me, which it's easy to get caught up in that, especially when you're a high-profile player that has potential to play in the NFL, all these things. It can quickly become all about me and that's just not this group. That's not these players. Now, once again, not saying they're perfect, they don't got any problems, but that's what I think brings that is it's about how can I compete my tail off for my brother next to me because I don't want to let him down. And that's what I love about coaching this group is that's why they play so relentless. That's why every snap is they're hunting is because they don't want to let their brother down. It's not so much just I want to make the play, I want to get the highlight. I think obviously there's always some of that, which is good, but they're playing for the brother to the right and their left. And they're playing for this brotherhood and them going out on Saturday, bowl prep, getting ready, not even getting into North Texas at that point, just really cleaning up some of our details. Seeing them compete that way is an encapsulation of this group that just cares about their brothers. They want to finish this thing strong. They want to compete at a high level. And it doesn't matter if anybody's out there watching either. And that's what you love about them. It's about competing at a high level, growing the guy next to you. And that's why they've had the success they've had this year is because of that. And that's why they've played as hard as they have. And that's why they've grown this whole year.
Gabe Hunter came to this program as a walk-on. What do you remember about his recruitment and him wanting to come to Boise State over other places where he had full rides?
Yeah, just going back to Gabe coming here and I think it's just special about this place. It's one of those things that people want to be a part of something like this, and what I mean by that is a brotherhood that does something different. The beautiful thing about Boise State is being able to have these games televised. We have a blue field. Like there's always something that is intriguing, I think, from the outside. And then the more you bring people into this program, you get them inside these walls, they see that there is something special about this place that people want to be a part of, from players to staff. And so when you bring a player, especially if they're aligned with what we're about, toughness, hard work, those type of things that are our culture. And so just like Gabe Hunter had opportunities scholarship-wise to go different places and came here, found out more about what this place is and what has made it successful to this point, and he wanted to be a part of it. And to his credit, since he got here, he just kept working his tail off. He didn't know it was going to be this year where his number was going to be called upon. We didn't know that we were going to need him to make 2 big interceptions at the end of games and the different plays he's made, but he did. And that's this group, that's this team that with the amount of injuries we've had this year, guys have had to step up in a lot of different roles, either into a starting role or into a role where they play a lot. And early on the season from spring ball, no one really thought they'd have to. But they kept working in the dark, and then all of a sudden now the hard work that they've done is in the light. And that's what I love about this game. That's what I love about this group is they are going to put the work in when no one's watching. Guys are up there right now where it's snowing outside, grinding on film. No one's going to know that, but they're doing it consistently week in and week out. And some of those guys up there might not even play on Saturday night, but they're working.
Yep.
Because they know their time's coming at some point. Maybe it's not Saturday. It might be next year, but they're working. And that's what I love about this group, and hard work does pay off, and I'm so proud of them that they see that. and it's a pleasure to coach them. It's a pleasure to be around them, and want nothing but the best for them because they put the work in to be successful.
What's it been like the last couple months getting to know Dirk Cutter a little better? And obviously, he's coaching his last game on Saturday. Obviously, what did he mean to the team to come in the way he did and help out the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's been awesome to be around Coach Cutter these past couple months. Obviously, prior to we had some interaction. He's obviously think the world of him, and his reputation speaks for itself. But it's been awesome to be around him. I mean, you talk about a guy that comes to work every day. It's fun to be around. I mean, I'm trying to pick his brain at all times, just with the amount of football he knows, from obviously offensively how an offense might attack us, to just different ways from leadership and program development stuff things. But it's been awesome to be around him, seeing him around our players and what he's done with the offense. Obviously, the whole offensive staff, and really buying into what Coach Cutter's doing, and seeing the players play the way they have down the stretch. Been awesome to see. And so I'm soaking it up with him. And I joke with him, I don't golf really well, but even when he's done, I got to find ways to hang out with him outside of football. But it's been a pleasure getting to know him. It's been a pleasure working with him these past couple months, and I've learned a lot from him. And he's definitely a guy that even in the coming months and years, a guy that I'm going to continually bend his ear on things football and even stuff out of football, because just got a ton of respect for him as a person as well.